Good afternoon. Pretty excited here this afternoon at the Prowler. Quite an occasion, something that started 4 years ago. Some of you may remember the names Jack Fletcher and Dylan Hinson, two sports writers for the Prowler. They kind of set a precedent with the rapport that they built with the coaches over the years, and that has continued through four of our own sports writers now, Rilee, Jenna, Ben, Ty. This afternoon, we're bringing you a special Coach's Corner because this is the 100th episode of Coach's Corner for the Prowler, and we're going to begin this afternoon with a phone call from Mr. Leonard, who can't be with us this afternoon because he is traveling for the boys lacrosse game down in Savannah against Benedictine. We'll get Alan on the phone, Mr. Leonard on the phone, and we'll go from there. Hello, Mr. Leonard.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we're here with the 100th episode of Coach's Corner. You got a minute to talk to us?
I have a minute to talk to you, yes.
Excellent. Well, instead of giving you a chance to give a little spiel about Stars Mill and the great things we do in sports, I'm going to throw it out to my sports writers first and foremost and see if they can pick your brain a little bit.
Okay.
First question for Mr. Leonard. Rilee.
First question I have is, kind of talking about Directors Cup. We've won 3 of the last 4, and this year we're going for 4 out of 5. How have we been able to be so dominant with that award?
Well, I really think it comes down to the amount of community support and the constant expectation of doing well in everything that we do. That's not just at the, or at least it demonstrates that in the athletic side, but we also see that academically. We see it in the fine arts as well, and really in everything that we do. We're very fortunate that our students come in and expect to be successful. Our parents come in and expect to be successful. And it's not just the expectation, but it's also the willingness to put in the time and effort and resources that are required to be successful. On the school side, everybody that works here also expects that as well. And I think we really do work as one community in all of our programs, athletic and otherwise, to try to make sure that success can happen for our kids.
Next question, Ben.
So, Mr. Leonard, we've had a lot of great moments from all our games this year, all around our sports at Stars Mill. What has been your favorite moment from a game that you've attended this year?
There's no way I could pick any one single moment. I couldn't be fair to any of the sports. There's been so many highlights this year. Volleyball making the state championship game, the last second shot for our boys basketball team in the state playoffs to advance to the second round. But just and so many other sports that are still going on. Boys soccer beating McIntosh, and at their place in the last 10 minutes, and Mike Hanie's last battle of the bubble. It's Ben is, as always, a fantastic school year, and at this point, every single team has qualified for state competition or the state playoffs, and it's something every program has the right to be very, very proud.
Any other? Jenna?
What makes Stars Mill sports actually worth the time to go watch?
Say it one more time.
What makes sports worth the time to watch here at Stars Mill?
Well, I think it's the relationships that I have with all of our teams and with all of our players, not just as they are out there on the field, but when you get to know everybody that's out there and the effort that they put in, it gives it a little bit more of a special feel, and certainly gives you a desire to see all that hard work and effort be successful.
Other questions? Ty, what do you got?
Yeah, so it seems like, especially here at Stars Mill, we have a really strong community built around Stars Mill sports. So what do you think about that sort of community that we've built so far?
Ty's question was related to the community support for sports at Stars Mill. Your thoughts on that?
I couldn't hear most of it. Ultimately, we certainly do not exist in a vacuum. Very few of our sports have kids who learn how to play those games when they show up at Stars Mill. The vast majority of them have already been been involved in their sport or their activity long before they ever get to us. And without that community support and those community programs, then we certainly would not have the success that we have.
Other questions for Mr. Leonard this afternoon? Sophia?
A lot of people refer to Peachtree City as a bubble. Do you think that Stars Mill and the school of sports kind of contradict that opinion, that nothing ever happens here?
Did you hear that, Mr. Leonard?
I lost the last part. I heard all the way up to about contradict. I wasn't exactly sure where the question was going there. I'm sorry.
The bubble mentality here at Stars Mill and how or in the community, and that nothing really happens inside the bubble. She asked if you think that sports sort of contradict that idea.
Well, I think that idea of the bubble is really about parents wanting to bring their kids to a place where they can be successful, and they don't have to deal with some of the struggles necessarily that may happen in some other places in Georgia or even the country. And what parents are doing by bringing their kids to the area that we call the bubble, that's really developed to be the bubble, is really about giving them the opportunity to have that success. And so I actually think that it fits very well. And if we look up the street north to our northern rivals, we see that they are also pretty successful in a number of things. I would say not as successful as we are most of the time, hopefully, but that both the schools that are in that bubble are successful, again, athletically, academically, and in fine arts, and pretty much everything that we try to do.
Excellent. Other questions there for Mr. Leonard? Well, we appreciate you taking the time this afternoon, Mr. Leonard, to accept our phone call, and appreciate you going down in there and showing your support for the boys lacrosse team in Savannah.
Absolutely. Looking forward to rooting them on.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have fun.
Awesome. We're joined now this afternoon by head baseball coach Brent Moseley. And Mr. Moseley, I know first round there against Ware County was kind of expected to be an easy one for us, and ended up not being. And then we end up being tossed out there in, I believe, the third round? Second round. Again, 3 games, all 3 games being kind of vastly different. If you want to start by kind of telling us a little bit about the season, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Well, we had regular season was unexpectedly good. Being as young as we were, we didn't think we would win the region again, and we sort of, I wouldn't say we cruised through, but we did a lot better than we thought we were going to do. And then we had some chinks in the armor late that we could see, and we just weren't playing as well as we needed to play at playoff time. So if you're not playing well then you're not going to go very far. So
Open it up to questions. Riley, go ahead and get us started.
So it seems, some years we'll have great pitching, great defensive teams, and then other years, kind of like this year, we've had some offensive teams that can put a lot of runs on the board. How do we combine those?
You tell me, and we'll start winning. I don't know. That's the funny thing. The last few years, and we've really always lived on pitching and defense here. We've never had great offensive teams. We've had some good offensive teams, but not great. But been very fortunate to have a lot of good pitchers. And this year it was something different. We could hit a little bit, but we weren't near as strong on the mound, and the biggest reason being they were young. Most of our pitchers were 10th graders. And hopefully in a couple of years, when those pitchers are seniors and all these hitters are back as seniors, we'll be able to put something pretty special together.
Ben?
So now that 2 big seniors are gone, Brian Ford, Brian Henderson, who are you looking at to lead the team?
Thad Ector. Thad started for 2 years. Sean White. All these guys, a lot of them played as freshmen, started as freshmen. So Sean, Thad, really good hitters. Sean's really good at catcher also. And then Eli Jones, Declan Dunn, pitching. So, we've got a good nucleus of guys coming back. And, hopefully they'll make a big leap this summer and fall and be even better next year.
Ty back there?
Yes, so now that you have Port leaving, graduating out now, and he would sort of be a team leader, Who are you looking to in the upcoming years to sort of be that leader, step up into that?
Well, hopefully this year Hunter Lawson will be a senior, so hopefully he'll be one of our leaders. I think he will be. Got a couple other seniors. I'm trying to think of my juniors right now. Hunter and help me out, Ty. Who are my other juniors this year? Bo, thank you, Bo. And there's one other. I've only got 3 return. We've got 18 out of 21 players returning, and Bo and Hunter and one other. I can't think, but those guys should. You always want a good senior class to lead your team, and
Noah Brewer, coach.
Noah, dang, thank you, Noah.
Thanks, Kathleen.
So, those 3 guys will hopefully be our leaders next year, and hopefully they'll perform and have good years for us.
Go to Jenna and then Rilee.
All right, so we have such a young team right now already on the field. So who are you really looking to on the JV team and upcoming players to?
Well, we had a few. Alex Uclea was a freshman that dressed with us. Ben Moseley, my son, was also a freshman that dressed. Had several freshmen, and so I think they'll be ready to play, at least ready to pitch for us next year, which will give us some depth that we really needed this year because our guys wore down. So, those guys, they were already dressing varsity. We just need them to make a step where they can actually contribute next year.
Oh, Brad?
So kind of when the season ends in the fashion it did, the 13-3 loss, and you have that final talk with the guys, what are you saying to them?
Well, the biggest thing for us this year is that we wore down. We weren't the same team in late April that we were in February. We got tired. We quit doing the little things that it takes to win deep in the playoffs, and mentally they got tired. And it's we start the 1st of January. Really, we started lifting weights in August last year, and we come in at 6:45 in the morning, and then we go through that, and then we start in January. And so I think those young guys, 9th graders, 10th graders, got tired, and I grind on them pretty good too, So mentally they got tired. Physically they were okay, but mentally I think they were tired.
And then against Locust Grove in that game 3, kind of where it got kind of bad for us was that second inning when they got 10 runs.
10 unearned runs.
Yeah. A lot of the guys that we had pitching were younger. So do you think that that's still a learning moment for them?
No doubt. Yeah, it is. And, it was a learning moment for all of them. Because even Ryan Henderson, who's a senior, did not play much last year. He was hurt. And so really the only returning guy that had a lot of time that was an upperclassman was Brian. And, it was the whole season was a learning moment for him. But that, the pressure of the playoffs is different. I'm different. It just the whole feeling is different. And so they've got to get used to that and being able to perform under that pressure.
Jenna?
What mentality do you take with the team during the playoffs?
Well, I try to back off a little bit because I am pretty hard on them. A lot of y'all don't know me that well, but I get after them pretty good. And so I try to back off. We don't practice as long. We don't practice as hard. It's more laid back. I let them come out in shorts a couple times, just, trying to rest and relax and get going because, that first day is a doubleheader. And so that's a long, that's probably 4.5, 5 hours out there. As some of y'all have been out there with us. So I try to back off, get them more relaxed where they'll play better. So usually works. This year it did.
Other questions for Coach Moseley this afternoon? No? Coach, we appreciate the time.
Yeah, guys, thank y'all for all your work out there. I know not all these guys are sports guys, right? But the ones you do, we really appreciate you coming out and spending your time. I know sometimes it's really cold, sometimes it's really hot, and so we do appreciate y'all. All right?
Cool. Thanks, Coach.
Thank
appreciate it. Next up for us this afternoon is boys and girls golf coach Burt Waller stepping in here to the hot seat. All right. Coach, teams have been looking good the last couple of years.
Yeah, we've been fairly successful, fortunately.
Anything else you want to tell us this season? I know you guys are pretty much done except for state coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we Boys and girls both won the area championship. Girls won it by 58 strokes. Boys won it by 12. Third area championship in a row for both teams. Going for the third state championship in a row for both teams. Doing a little research, I think it will be the first back-to-back-to-back state champion in county history. Definitely will be the first 3-time in a row state champion in school history if one of the teams is to pull it off. So we got a good chance. We're going to have to play well, but we're looking good. So,
excellent. Go ahead and start off with Jenna there.
All right, so on the girls' team, we have a lot of incredible seniors. So what is it going to take next year to make sure that the team stays where they are now?
Well, we try to make conscious effort, try to get people behind our starters experience. So, for instance, Mary Hunter's a little banged up right now. So we took Maggie Simonian to our tournament in Jasper this past weekend, and she shot 82, which was the 6th best score in the tournament. So just getting her that experience. She'll be our first sub in if we need to sub somebody at the state tournament. We've got some freshmen, and then we're the only golf team in the local area that includes 8th graders on our team. So we kind of build that pipeline in with our program so that by the time they get to us, they kind of understand how we practice, how we do things, what our rules are, those kind of things.
So you've talked about being the first team in the county possibly to 3-peat state champions. How is it that we're perennial favorites every year?
We just got real talented kids, and it doesn't hurt that Braylon, Chris Knobloch over at Braylon has about 85 kids out there in his kids camp, 4 days a week. So they kind of start young. They live on the golf course. They play a lot of golf, and then they go play, regional tournaments around summer and fall. And by the time they get to us in the spring, they're seasoned, they're experienced, and they're ready to go. So.
Next question. Ben, go ahead. So shifting over to the boys team a little bit, who are you looking at to lead in the future for the next couple of years?
Well, fortunately for us, we only have one senior out of 16 kids. So we lose Mason Mayfield, and then everybody comes back. So we won't be looking too far for leadership next year. Our current junior class is large. So after that, Brendan Cross got a lot of experience. He's going to play for us in the state tournament this year. Houston Lawson's come back to us from baseball. He's a very talented golfer. Kyle Bukowski's very good as a freshman. So we got some younger guys that are just as talented, and we'll kind of see how these older guys have been doing it, and I think they'll be ready to step in.
Other questions for golf this afternoon, Coach Waller? No? All right. Coach,
All right.
Good luck at state.
Appreciate all y'all do. Thanks for covering us.
Next up for us this afternoon is going to be boys and girls track head coach Chad Walker coming up here.
How's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
Good.
Running you guys through here today.
Good. Yeah, great. This is awesome. Press conference. Never been in a press conference.
Even with your football days at West Georgia?
Oh, well, I'm talking about as a coach.
Oh,
Yeah,
his
as a
first
coach.
one, huh?
First one as a coach.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome. This is pretty awesome. This is cool.
I'm going to go ahead. Just the thing of interest to me watching y'all, exactly how many more state records, or school records, sorry, I should say, how many more school records are we going to break? You only got one meet left.
Yeah, wow. I hope we can get a couple more, really. I think we've got 6 already this year that we've broken.
I guess that's okay.
Yeah, so, hey, it's great. I mean, that's what records are there for. They're there to be broken. So that means we're doing some good things.
Obviously.
We're doing some good things.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and open it up to the floor then. Any questions? Riley's going to start us off.
This hasn't been a team dominated by seniors, right? There's been a good mixture of youth and veterans. So can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely we've got some people scoring in other areas. We've actually, for the first time in a while, we've been scoring in the sprinting events, especially on the girls' side. Freshman Sydney Blair is qualified for state in the 100 and 200, and our girls 4x100 relay also qualified for state last week. So it's really that really hasn't happened much in our program. We generally have a lot of distance and a lot of field event kids that are scoring for us at big meets. But yeah, it's good to see. My goal as a coach is to be as well-rounded as possible across the board with the program for both boys and girls. And this year was the first year, or the second time in school history, that we had our boys and girls win region at the same year. The last time we did that was 2015, and it's never been done before that. So that was neat. That was good.
Next with Ben, go ahead.
So talk about Julia Colson. It seems like she's always set new PRs almost every meet. What does that say about her work ethic?
Yeah, she's very driven. There's no question. Julia's super driven and had a gymnastics background when she first came in, and was very determined to do some big things in the pole vault. Fell in love with it, and each year she's gotten better. And this year she's cleared 11.6. She's tied the school record, along with Abby Dickinson and Lauren Marchman. So who knows, maybe next week at state that could be another one to go down. But she's definitely on her way. She wants to do this in college, and she's gotten some attention. If she can get to the 12-foot mark next year, she'll have a great opportunity to compete at a higher level in college.
Other questions there? Jenna, go ahead.
All right, so runners are getting a lot of attention. They always do, but this year we actually have a really good team in the field as well. So you talked about wanting to be well-rounded. So do you think there is a possibility this year that Stars Mill can win state as a team?
Wow. Yeah, it takes so much to win state. I've been coaching now for 22 years and have won state title, and that was in 2003 at Wheeler High School. And we were surrounded with just phenomenal talent, but we still needed everything to go the correct way to win a state meet. Is that a possibility? On the boys' side, we finished runner-up last year. We've got 3 incredible seniors with Ty Dubin and Nick Nyman and Harrison Foltz that behind them we should hopefully be able to put up a lot of points. And the good thing about track and field is in the distance category, they get to run at one time. In the sprinting area, you have to run twice. You have to run your prelims, and then you have to run your finals. So to get in there and on Thursday and let them run the mile, and then on Friday evening to run the 2 mile, they can hopefully put up some good points, and we can sit back and see what everybody else does. But I feel very confident in our kids and what they've done this year leading up to this point. I'm definitely not going to say we're going to win state, but I will say that we're going to make a good run at it.
Ryan in the back.
Since it's not like single person dominated and there's like many really talented runners, is there like a secret recipe or regimen that you give them to like make it go faster or something?
I really my job.
Run faster.
Yeah.
There it is.
I will say this: we have great coaches. We've got great coaches, great distance coaches. We got a great sprinting coach. We've got an awesome pole vaulting coach. I've got 9 coaches that I've surrounded myself with that I feel very confident with, and I trust that they're going to put the best recipe out there for our kids to be successful. But I do a lot of motivating, and any of y'all that have been around me, you know that, and I really preach on just really their attitude every day, and bringing a positive attitude with them each day to practice, and then I'd get into some other things as well, but always trying to stay positive with the kids, and they put in a lot of work. That's a lot of hard work that they do throughout the season just to get to where they are right now.
Ty?
Yeah, so we talk about magnet faults a lot
Yeah.
in track.
Mm-hmm.
So We have some pretty solid underclassmen, especially in the sophomore class. Like on the girls' side, Allie Walker, out the boys, you have Colton Smith. So who else would be on your radar, like going into next season and future seasons?
Yeah, we do. We've got a lot of kids, but definitely on the boys' side, we've got a couple 11th graders. Seth Miller, and he's an 800, 1600 runner. Tommy Hindi, who just came out first time this year as a junior. He's an 800-meter runner. Colton Olvey's a 10th grader. He's doing really, really well on the distance side in the 1600, the 3200. Joey Sokowski, Joseph Rampy, they both qualified for state this year, and they're in 10th grade. One's a pole vaulter, the other one's a shot putter. So we definitely have some younger kids on the girls' side. Sydney Blair, she's a 9th grader, and like I had mentioned earlier, she's going to state in the 100 and the 200. She broke the school record in the 100-meter at 12:33. I mean, we've got some kids that the future looks bright for them over the next couple of years. So, but it's good to see. It's good for the younger kids to definitely see what these older kids do and what the amount of work that they're putting in, and to be rewarded for it. I mean, they've worked hard, and you see a couple of our distance runners going on to Georgia Tech next year. You got one going to the Citadel. On the girls' side, Leah Dubin's walking on at University of Alabama to run the hurdles, and Tara Davis is going to Mercer to run the 400. So we've definitely got some kids going and competing in college, and for these younger kids to see that, what it takes to get to that point is pretty awesome. So
We got time for one more from
Okay.
Coach. Go ahead, Riley.
So you just brought up Leah Dubin going to Alabama, and she's someone who, if you go look in the softball record books, she has her name everywhere.
Yeah.
And she was a softball commit. She comes over to track, and now she's going to run. Feel guilty at all for stealing her from the softball field?
No, I don't feel guilty at all. I really don't. She's a very talented young lady, very smart, and I think she just wanted to try something different. When she tried something different, she fell in love with it. And not that she didn't love softball, but she wanted to take track to the next level, and she did. So, wish her the best of luck.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
great.
Thanks for the time.
Hey, thanks, guys. You guys did a great job.
Up next, we're going to have girls lacrosse coach Mary Lehman joining us. So, Miss Lehman, Coach Lehman, if you'll take the hot seat for us.
Okay.
Quite an impressive win last night.
Thank you.
I think Riley was there covering that game, and I got a message from him that said Holy Innocents has 7 and Ansley Wallace herself had 6. So that's not a bad performance there from Ansley. But I'll go ahead and open it up to questions. See what we got here. Go ahead, Riley. You were there last night.
I kind of wanted to start with that because, I think I had her written out for 7 goals total, just like, the entire other team. She wasn't a part of last year's playoff run, and I know kind of the biggest difference with this year's team is the depth that we have. So what is she bringing back to this team?
Well, she definitely is bringing back experience. Her sophomore year, she had an outstanding season as well. So just missing that junior year obviously was a loss for us last year. We missed having her, but she has stepped right back on that field, not missing a step. She hasn't missed a beat. She's just back where she was before. I don't remember her stats her sophomore year, but I'd be willing to bet she is probably equal to, if not matching it, maybe exceeding it at this point. So.
Other questions for Coach Lehman this afternoon? Go ahead, Nick. What you got?
One thing I've noticed about the team this year is how tightly knit all the players are. How do you achieve such a close team chemistry as the leader of the team?
I think a lot of it is actually, I wish I could take a lot of credit for it, but I wouldn't do that myself. I think a lot of it actually is because these girls have played together since they were pretty young. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them have been together for so long, and it's, I've found with my experience in lacrosse is it's a very strong family culture. that we've just always managed to maintain. We talk about it on a daily basis. We talk about it every day at practice. We talk about it right before games, after games. It's our main focus. And last year we came up with our team motto, and it's just carried on since last year: big team, little me. I don't know if you've seen it around, but it's just stuck with us. And we know that the team comes first, and we consider our team our family. So.
I remember last year when I went to the state championship game with you guys, back in the locker room there was a whiteboard and it was covered with slogans like that, and everyone had written their own little thing. So can you just tell me what the mindset all these players have this year?
Yes, it's very similar. We have the exact same thing going on with our whiteboard this year. We kind of started it last year. We found that it was just a good way for our girls to communicate with each other. They write each other positive notes. Sometimes they're specific to other players. Sometimes it's just a generic comment. But we found it to be very effective. Some of them are funny. Some of them are very serious. And we've just found that it's been very helpful. So we're just going to continue that trend and keep that tradition going. And I think this is something that's going to stick with us for a very long time. I hope we can maintain that.
Ben? So like you said, you guys won 19-7 against Holy Innocents Episcopal. Great offensive showing for you guys. Is there any concern at goal with giving up those 7, considering that you have this team outmatched, especially when you're going deeper into the playoffs with those hard teams?
No. When I went back and looked at the stats, a lot of our goals were given up at free positions, which is where they line up on the 8 and we cause a foul that occurs inside the 8-meter arc. So that's an easy fix. We just need to not foul inside the 8-meter arc. No different than in basketball. You want to stay out of the paint. You don't want to cause that foul. So that's what we're really going to focus on this week, is avoiding those fouls. I think I told Rilee yesterday that when you're on defense in lacrosse, you play defense with your feet, not with your stick, and that's something we're just going to have to focus more on.
Any other questions for Coach Lehman? Rilee, last one?
Just finally, is there anything that you want people to know about this team as they go into another playoff run?
I just want everybody to know that they're serious. I mean, these girls have worked very hard. It's taken, in fact, this is kind of interesting. I actually got an email from the Woodland coach after we played them. That was our first round. And he sent me this really nice email about how impressed he was by our family culture, which was one of the questions you just asked. And I told him, I said, and he was very impressed with the caliber, and he said he was going to use his coaching on the modeling off of the model of our team. And of course that made me feel really good. But I told him, I said, well, just understand this didn't happen overnight. This was 12 years in the making, and it's taken that long to get to this point, to develop this culture that we have. And it occurred way before I came on board. So, we just, now that we've got it to this point, we need to nurture this and we need to maintain it. And it's up to our seniors to pass on that legacy. And that's what it takes, is each year passing a legacy on to the next team to continue. So,
Coach, thank you very much. Good luck in the next round there.
Thank you.
We're going to have both Coach Bowen and Coach Hanie join us here for the next segment to talk about soccer. Thanks, sir. Got both soccer teams here at Stars Mill doing really well. Both of them advancing. We've got the girls playing tonight at Carrollton. We have the boys playing tomorrow at Cross Keys in a highly anticipated matchup there. So we'll do like we always do on Coach's Corner and jump right into it. I'm sure Jenna wants the first question here for soccer, so go ahead, Jenna.
All right, I'm going to start with Coach Bowen. So we have Quinton Wakey, she's back on the field, and she played an incredible game in the second round of playoffs. So what happened there? How did she just instantly come back and just start running?
Well, she's just quality. I mean, she needed some breaks here and there, but I mean, her touch and vision for the game, that doesn't disappear just because you've been out for a while. So she just needed a break here and there, and would be able to keep her fitness levels up or to perform at a high level. And so I just talked to her before the game. I said, look, you go 15 minutes here, we'll give you a 10-minute break, 15 minutes there, 10-minute break. And she was able to maintain an intensity throughout those 15 minutes each time without losing, touch or quality in that regard. She's just played better and better as she's gotten back. The first game wasn't quite as sharp, but she scored the game-winning goal. Second game was a little bit sharper. In this last game, she was really on top of it.
Thanks. Next question there for either soccer coach. Rilee, go ahead.
Coach Hanie, I'll ask you, I guess, because this is your last season.
Yes.
And the boys have really put together a quality team, got the #1 seed in this year's tournament. What does that mean to you in your last year?
It's great. We've been trying to, we had a culture established when we first started, and then it kind of went away a little bit because the seniors didn't carry that. And so in the last 3 or 4 years since we added Coach Buck to our program, and with him being a JV assistant, it has helped us because he has the same mindset that I do. Hey, here's the culture. So he's established that within the JV program, and it's really helped us, in our varsity program.
Other questions for soccer? Well, let's go with Ty and then Ben.
All right, so this is one for Coach Bowen. So at the beginning of the season, you guys lost Chloe Thompson to a knee injury, and it seems like you guys haven't missed a step since then. So how do you think about these girls and their ability to pick up the slack of Chloe?
Well, I wouldn't say we haven't missed a step. Chloe's a pretty big step. There was a 4-day period where we lost Chloe and Merritt Parker all real quick, and then Quinn was out with a knee, and then Keeper's been out for about a month with a concussion. Hopefully she gets cleared today. But the difference is that we had freshmen in place that when we said, all right, it's a little too early, but here you go, let's see how you do. And Sophia Bernardi and Julia Shanahan did a great job when they stepped in, not filling their roles necessarily, but allowing other people to move into positions that allowed us to be successful. And I think the girls did a real good job about understanding and accepting the position that we were in and just saying, all right, we're going to have to do a little bit more. And, we can't rely on Chloe to get the goal. We can't rely on Merritt to be serving the ball, so we need to make sure that we're presenting those opportunities ourselves. And you can see it in just a couple position changes. Sarah Evans going up top. She's been a dangerous force all year. Putting Cara Dial and Quinn Nowicki out on the wings consistently. And then even the girls that have joined us, Maddie Deffler and Luzmila Morera, have done a great job. You see our sophomores carrying more of a load. Mary Jane Gagliano, yes, I remember you're there. And Darby Olive, Sophia Varmiziar, all these girls. It's probably at least a year or two early to be accepting as much responsibility as they are. But when they were given the opportunity and kind of laid out for them, like, hey, we need you to now be an 80-minute player. We need you now to start taking leadership roles. They just grabbed it and ran with it like they were waiting on it. So we've been able to sustain the success because the younger players were ready and willing to step up and fill those positions.
Ben?
So, Coach Hanie, I noticed from your game on Thursday against Woodland that communication was just over the top from years past. How has the team been able to improve on that communication?
Well, it's a good team chemistry. Some of these boys have been playing together now for 2 or 3 years. I think the big thing is that, like any family, we've had our little spats here and there, but they encourage each other and they work with each other, to make each other better as we go through each day.
Jenna?
So we currently, as of the last game, only have one senior on the field.
Yes.
And so what really does that show you about the team's capability, especially going into next year, going into the future?
Well, we were young already, so it was already a matter of, last year as freshmen, this year as sophomores, people playing a big role and filling those positions for us and doing well with it. So I was comfortable going into that role this year because of how well they did as freshmen. I wasn't worried about that as much. The difference I really think is, it takes your freshman year to get used to a high school schedule because you're used to club where, you have a day off in between everything most of the time. You might have a big glut of games on the weekend, but the season is relatively defined. And with us going 5 days a week, 3 practices, 2 games, 5 practices, whatever, that tends to drain on everybody. And so that's really the big adjustment when you have freshmen and sophomores out there. The nice thing is that all our freshmen and sophomores play at a really high level, so it's not that technically or tactically that they're at a disadvantage. But now they're playing people that are just as good as them, and most of the teams we play, especially in the playoffs, loaded with juniors and seniors. 11 seniors on the field, 11 juniors and seniors on the field, just ridiculous. And so it's playing against girls that are just as good as you, but now bigger, faster, stronger. And so it helps us in the regard that, you might be out there a little too early, but you just adjust. You get used to it. And most of them are used to at least training with older girls or playing with a group, filling in on a tournament or something like that. So it's not that out of the ordinary, but they've done a real good job about maximizing their abilities, and then the big thing is not being scared, not worrying about, who's out there and what they can do or anything like that, but just going out there and showing your best self. And as we've gone through the season, we've gotten better and better about doing that, where we just kind of show up and play at this point. We play hard, and we're not really concerned with who we're playing. It's just the opportunity that we get to play. That seems to be kind of the joy in it at the moment.
We got time for one more question for the soccer coaches here before we turn it over. Go ahead, Rilee.
So, Coach Hanie, whenever this season ends, hopefully it ends with us as the last team standing, but, when it ends, is there a legacy that you hope you're leaving with the program?
I think the biggest thing is that it's not about me, it's not about the coaches, and I try to talk to our players. It's not about you, it's about your teammates. And the biggest thing is just working together and encouraging each other. So hopefully, the legacy that I would leave would be, hey, you know what? It's not about me, but it's about the team, and it's about the program, and it's about being role models and examples for not only your younger teammates, but we have younger players that come out there that are ball runners or whatever. And so I want them to see, hey, this is how we carry ourselves on a field, and this is the character that we play with, and this is who we are.
Excellent. Coaches, good luck to both of you this week.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time this afternoon.
Not a problem.
Because it's going to be a war tomorrow. Number 1 and number 2.
We hope to be there.
Yeah.
We hope to be there.
Yeah, thank you for all you guys have done.
Thank you.
To close it out this afternoon and to close up the 100th episode of Coach's Corner, we're going to bring in Athletic Director Shane Ratliff. We'll bring him up and hear what he has to say about athletics here at Stars Mill, being a former coach himself. Mr. Ratliff, I'm just going to throw it out to them and see how they can jump on you here a bit. We'll go Ben and then Rilee.
So it seems every year we always have our sports being very successful. What do you think makes sports here successful?
There's a lot of things that help make it successful here. First is we have very dedicated athletes, and parents are dedicated to competing at the highest level as well, and putting their kids in the right position to compete at the high level. We also have coaches that are willing to work and go above and beyond to make sure that these kids are put in the right position, and strategically put in the right position to win games. I think that's part of 2 of the major factors that come with it. It's that whole motto that we go by. It's the demand excellence, and I feel like our kids do the same thing, and they demand excellence from each other as teammates. And our coaches do it as well as our even the parents. The parents do a great job of doing that with their kids. It, all of you sitting here. Your teacher is having you do this right here because he demands excellence out of you guys. This is not happening at every school. And so this is the kind of things that we do here, and it's the expectation. And I think that's the big thing.
Right?
We've had a lot of success this year and just in the past years, but you're athletic director now, but do you miss coaching at all?
Oh, most definitely. The relationship building portion of that is really been the hardest part of my job. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy watching kids compete. I enjoy spending time with kids, but the relationship factor that comes with working with kids is hard. And the hardest part for me right now is the last little group that I had in this building are going to be seniors next year, and it's only a couple of them that I even coached. So I'm at that point now where every face that walks in the building is a new face for me. So there are days I miss it. I understand why I'm in this position. I understand what I'm doing, and I love what I'm doing. But I definitely miss the coaching aspect of it. You can't really take the coach out of a person. So.
Other questions for Athletic Director Shane Ratliff? What do you got, Sophia?
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to pose the same question I posed to Mr. Leonard. we're often considered the bubble in Peachtree City, and do you think the sports aspect of Stars Mill kind of contradicts that because we're so successful?
Well, if you look at McIntosh, and I hate to bring that up in this setting, but if you look at McIntosh and look at us, which both schools are considered in the bubble, and you look at Directors Cup the last probably 5 or 6 years, McIntosh is in there. They're not in the same realm as Stars Mill in regards to the way we are, how successful we've been in the Directors Cup. But I think they have a lot of the same trends as us. We have parents that are highly involved and want successful kids, and whatever they do, they push them to be successful in it. And I think that's a big part of the bubble portion of it. And I know the bubble, in a sense, is you kind of grow up in it and you're sheltered a little bit in that bubble. But I think the positives of what we call the bubble definitely are going to outweigh. You're going to get a lot more out of what you get inside that bubble than you think. And it teaches you guys to be great young people. That you're going to go on and see the success that comes from learning within this area. So I think it's unique. You don't see it anywhere else around this state, and I'm happy to be a part of it. It's cool.
I think we got time for one more quick question, Rilee.
What makes us different than McIntosh?
What makes us different? I think we are all around successful in everything we do. I don't think, and I think that's part of what drives us a little bit compared to McIntosh. Everything we get involved in, we go full-fledged, full force in it. There's definitely one program you can look at in athletics that you could say, all right, there's a complete opposite there when it comes to football. But you look at all of our athletic stuff, and when we go toe-to-toe with them in athletics, we generally win. So I think athletically is what really makes us stand out, but we're not afraid to go toe-to-toe in everything we do with them. So,
well, Athletic Director, Mr. Ratliff, thank you very much for joining us. And this closes out our Coaches Corners for this school year. So hopefully you guys will be watching again next fall. Thank you everyone for being here.